leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sublime. It's enjoyable to know you in concubines. Take off your coats, ladies act like gems. Sit down, Indian styles, you recite these hymns. See, lyrically, I'm Mario Andretti on the Momo. Ludicrously speedy or infectious with the slow-mo. Heard me in the 80s, JV's on the promo. Him, I never in the quest to get the paper on the caper. But now, let me take it to the Queen side. I'm taking it to Brooklyn side. All the residential questions who invade the air. Hold up a second, son, cause we almost there. You could be a and lose all your soul. You could be and good, but don't the road. See, my is universal if you got knowledge of Polo or Delta myself. See, there's no one else who could drop it on the angle. Acute at that. So do that, do that, do that, that. Come on. Do that, do that, do that, that. Yeah. Do that, do that, do that, that. I'm bugging out, but let me get back. So run and tell the others, cause we are the brothers. I learned how to build.
You are listening to the Black Pack here on KBLA Talk 1580. I am your host, Adrianne Shropshire, and we are getting ready for a world tour of sorts. So I am so very pleased to be joined by my good friend Angela Rye and my homegirl from the area code 206 here on the Black Pack to talk about the State of the People Power Tour that Angela has been an incredible force behind both the online YouTube effort that we'll talk about here in a minute, as well as the tour that is coming up. And you all know Angela as one of the co-hosts of the Native Land podcast that I know folks love so much. So, Angela, welcome.
Hey, sis. Welcome up in the 206 all day long. I am with Mama Rye at the nail shop, so pardon the background noise. But you know, it's Easter weekend, so you got to show up.
I was about
Easter.
to
You
say.
couldn't go to church with your nails done.
It is Easter weekend, and people are doing what they need to do to get prepared.
Listen here, Good Friday. Get your nails done on Good Friday. Get your good nails done on Good Friday. Right. But I'm so happy to be here with you. You know I love you deep. I'm going to take this as an olive branch for the dinner we are so overdue for. But this is, I'll take it. I'll take whatever I can get of Adrianne Shropshire. Y'all don't know, you need to know this is a legend right here. It's a living legend.
Well, I appreciate we have a dinner that we must get together, because I know that there is a place that I have been dying to go, and you are going with me. So I want to talk about the state of the people. I mean, with the tour is coming up, and we're going to talk about that. But the tour from city to city, 10 cities, I think, before Juneteenth, really sort of grew out of this effort to say we need to be talking to our people, and we need to be telling the truth to our people, because other folks are not doing that, right? And in fact, are doing the exact opposite. And it really turned into this. incredible moment when Trump was doing his joint address to Congress, where we just said we need to tune in someplace else. Right. Don't turn your TV all the way off, like turn that part of it off, but tune in over here and let's actually talk to each other about what's going on and what we need to do. So will you just talk about that a little and how it came together? You reference it, this whole effort you reference as kind of a love letter, and just talk about that for a minute for the listeners so they understand.
Yes. Well, you know what? Let me give this as a perfect example. So you and I got to know each other in the work, and it was at a time where the work was just about, how we ensure voter turnout, how we reach more of our folks. And, it was like, I loved it. I was like, I love this sister. We both from the town. She's brilliant. I love talking to you about strategy. And it was fun, but it was also meaningful work. Mm-hmm. And now we're in this era where what is required of us is something else. It's like survival skills in the moment, Right. And so here we are where the answering of the call isn't just making sure that we are registering people to vote or making sure that people feel heard. It's making sure that our people can live.
Yeah.
Yes. When you think about your neighbor who you say good morning to every day, and their son may have a child that's at risk of deportation because they protested in support of Palestinian children who were losing their lives. When you think about something that our ancestors fought for, like, being able to be seen as a citizen. I'm thinking about Dred Scott when he was told he was not a citizen. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about the folks like my mom right now, Adrianne, she's fighting cancer. Yeah. As we discussed. And when I went to the counter the other day and they said the white blood cell injections that she needs to get, we're looking for an alternative because it would be $978.
Right.
And she would, the same thing that she paid $10 for last week. Right. So what we're talking about is an embodied love letter to Black people so that people don't feel hopeless. Right. People know that they're not alone. And whatever their fight is, however it's showing up, whether the attack is on your union, the attack is on your child who's incarcerated, who Trump is calling homegrown, right. And they're worried about whether or not they'll be sent to El Salvador. That is the embodied love letter. Sometimes love looks like protection. Sometimes love looks like liberation. So I made a very long statement to say that is really what it's about.
No, I appreciate that. We're going to take a quick break, but I want to talk to you about where we're going, right? Where is the tour going to be at? I want to talk about this moment of the necessity, right, for us to be in community with one another. And also I want to talk about the fact that people are saying that we're absent. Right, the Black folks are nowhere to be found, which is also completely and utterly a lie. So when we come forward, more with Angela Rye here on the Black Pack at KBLA Talk 1580.
You're part of the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire on KBLA Talk 1580. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality because this is it. Every day, you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining where you're praying for a miracle and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community, and as a people, we've apologized for so much, but when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Chuck McDowell here. If you were misled or lied to in any way when buying a timeshare, right now is your wake-up call. With the tariffs, economy tanking, and inflation rising, you might need to ask yourself this question. Is owning a timeshare a good idea With all the economic uncertainty, you need to protect yourself and your family. Don't look back and say, if I'd have only got rid of that stupid timeshare they lied to me about. It's time to stop thinking about canceling your timeshare and finally get rid of it and be smart with your money. At Wesley Financial Group, we've saved 48,000 families an average of $65,000 in lifetime payments. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare permanently or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-954-3322. 800-954-3322. 800-954-3322.
Let's get back to more of the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire right now on KBLA Talk 1580. Helping to broaden your political and moral imagination with our 2024 climate justice campaign. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to the Black Pack, and I am so happy to be joined by Angela Rye, co-host of the Native Land Pod, and principal and CEO at Impact Strategies, a incredible strategist, a thought leader, and my girl. So, Angela, I wanted to talk a little bit about the tour itself. So, again, we talked about what this came out of, why it feels incredibly important right now. But where are we going? What are we doing? And what are we doing when we get there? 10 cities, we've said.
Yes. And you know what? Technically, Adrianne, so first of all, I went to law school to avoid doing math. But here's the thing. we technically are going to 12 cities. And I will tell you why as soon as I pull this graphic up here.
Okay, tell me, because I'm saying the wrong information.
Well, you know what? It's just it's a technicality. So we're going to Atlanta first on the 26th, which is just next Saturday. Then we go to Durham, where our service day is, and then we go to Raleigh in Raleigh. That's what I've been saying, Raleigh in Raleigh. So that's technically two. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then we have Birmingham and Montgomery. So when you count the cities on here, we technically have 11. If you break out Raleigh and Durham, we have 12. So we're going Atlanta, Raleigh, Durham, Birmingham, Montgomery, New Orleans, Newark, Richmond, Detroit, Jackson, Louisville, and Los Angeles. So that's, and so that is what is most important, that we are going to hit at least 10, and it's looking like 12. And we're on our way to our national convening, which will be in Baltimore on Juneteenth. Yep. So that is great.
Baltimore and Juneteenth. So 10/12 cities. And if folks want to...
We've been saying 10 so long, now it's hard to get past it.
Let me I know I'm going to get this wrong, but you're going to help me. So if folks want to find out if the cities where we're going to, at least in this first round, because I think the intention is to do more, they can go to stateofthepeople.org or
yes, it's state of the PPL, because domain's been out here so long, we're running out of ideas. So stateoftheppl.com, and you can register there, get all of our updates. We have text messaging soon. Adrianne, we have been, I know it feels like a long time because of how much we've done. We've only been organizing this for 3 weeks.
Yes.
I was in a conversation yesterday with somebody and said, oh my God, we literally have only done this for a month. Yeah. Like we had a meeting with a few of us where we met a month ago yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how God is in it. So,
right.
We're going to be able to offer help and support to folks. But, that's what's going on.
I mean, it has been, so you are one of the architects, and there are many other folks behind the scenes who are doing literal yeoman's work to get this up and off the ground. And I want to make the point about how much, not just how much work it is, but how important it is. You said the service day is in Raleigh. No, the service day is in Durham and the rally's in Raleigh, right? And so I think that I want to just highlight that for a second, because the idea is that in each city, we're talking about 2 days of activities, and it really was sort of a like we need to be in community. We need to get our folks together. We need to be supporting each other, and we need to be talking about the way forward, right? We need to be talking about strategy, and so that could have been done in one day. It could have been one town hall, but I think that it was brilliant that folks said, no, let's take our time with this, right? Let's do a day where we're thinking about the support that our communities need and how we provide that. And also let's talk about the hard work that we need to do, and also bring joy, right? And add in our culture and all those kinds of things to talk about how we move forward. What was the think? Was that the thinking behind that, or am I off like I was on the number of cities?
That's so funny. You're not off, you're on. And I think really this is an opportunity to have to the work that you do with Black Fact. You have talked about some of the focus groups and conversations you all have been in. And for some of our folks, Adrianne, politics is the last thing on their mind. Mm-hmm. So what happens if we get out of our comfort zone? Here we are calling our leaders, calling communities, hey, everybody, it's not business as usual. It's abnormal times. And when you look at us, we're still moving like it's normal.
Right.
So we got to stretch out of our comfort zones, too, and ask the tough questions we really don't want to hear the answers to. I don't know about you, sis, but I've been at many a family gathering where one of my cousins says something ignorant I don't support or agree with about why they're going to vote for the other guy, about why they're not voting, about why they feel left out of the process. And normally it's an eye roll, but it's not met with curiosity about why. It's just like, you too ignorant to do that. You know who your daddy is, kind of a thing, right? Meanwhile, we're not ever getting to the why. So over time, we've lost ground with a lot of our folks because we just are like, you know better. But what happens when you don't know better? Or what happens like if you feel like my circumstances really aren't changing? Or what happens if you feel like, I'm left out here and I'm tired of being treated as invisible? So what happens when we go into community and say, we see you, we need you, we're here to help to meet your needs, and we're here to listen. Because I haven't done enough of that. When we get on the phone, I will start mouth first. See, you already said. So I want to listen myself. Yeah. I really want to learn myself.
Yeah.
Because maybe we might end up finding the next Fannie Lou Hamer there. Right. Or we might end up finding the next, Robert Johnson when he was starting BT there if we just go listen.
Right.
So it's not to me just about organizing politically. It's about ensuring that our community is set up like a co-op where we can meet each other's needs. Right. We don't know how long we're going to have the currency we have. We don't know how long we're going to have to be able to organize on social. We don't know how long we just have to move different.
That's right. And in some ways get back to, what's old is new again, right? Like it is
That's
the
right.
need to have direct conversations with one another, to be in direct, space, right, with one another, and not rely always on some of these social media platforms that, to your point, we don't even know how long they're going to be around. Right. And if all of our ability to interact with each other lives in those places that we don't own or control, that's a problem for us. Right. And so in some ways, this is just getting back to old school. Let's just get in community, be in the same room and have these conversations.
That's it. And I think if we remember that what we're doing is not building a moment, yes, we're going in to mobilize, but the organization continues. Not just when we leave, because we're going to stay tapped in with folks, but we're organizing on the national level, and we have brought in partners and family together for a reason. So we talk about this being an embodied love letter. Adrianne, it's a reason when we send out the letters to folks, it says, dear family. If we treat each other like family, we're not as disposable. We're not as transactional. We're coming in and saying, we need you, and that's not going to change, even if we have a little tip or a little disagreement. If I agree with you 70% of the time, that's enough for us to move forward together. Yep. And I think that's the model we got to use it.
Yeah. We need to, I was talking to April Verrett, the president of SEIU last week, and we were talking about the importance of gathering ourselves right now. And that's what this feels like, because we have to guard against our communities feeling isolated, right? We have to guard against individual folks feeling like they want to do something, but there's no place for them to plug in. And hopefully the State of the People tour provides that, because to your point, and I want to like double down on this point. This isn't just a bunch of national organizations like running through, 12
That's
cities, right? This is groups on the ground in those cities who are doing the work all the time, also working with the national organizations to make sure that we are present, right, and accounted for. And to that point about being present and accounted for, OSA is coming on in a little bit to talk about what they're seeing on social media. Yeah. To talk about what they're seeing on social media right now. But there has been this narrative I talked about at the top of the show, this narrative that is sort of emerging about Black people are absent, right? We saw this Axios article early in the week that essentially said, Black folks said a few things, right? Like it appears that Black folks are afraid. It appears that Black folks don't think that their activism is going to matter. It appears, a lot of appears, right? One, none of that based on reality, but also we just watched Black people do historic things, right? We just watched Black folks turn out in historic numbers in Louisiana. We continue to watch Black folks in North Carolina push back to make sure that the Supreme Court race is a reflection of the will of the people. Like, we're watching Black folks do things, and yet there is this narrative about not just Black folks aren't there, but also telling Black people to stay home. Right. That feels to me, and we'll talk about this with this also, but I would love to get your opinion, that it feels a lot like what we saw during the election, right? The sort of content on social media telling Black folks not to vote. And now we're seeing kind of content on social media telling Black folks not to get involved.
Yeah. The thing I do understand, and this might be my walking hypocrisy, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. We talk about thoughts, strategies, and feelings. So here's my feeling. Understand the idea of saying, let's see how they react to these folks that hit the streets, right? Like in the form of protest.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is telling people not to do anything.
Right.
Like, we cannot afford not to do anything. We should be meeting. We should be gathering. We should be, decreasing the ideas or even the experience of isolation as much as possible. We have to be communicative and figure out what our next steps and what our next moves are, because right now, we're in the process of consistent overwhelm. It's draining, it's stressful, it is unhealthy. And the only way to combat that is figure out what solutions people are deploying and employing to make sure they don't rest in that and stay in that.
Yeah.
So even the idea of like, oh, well, we're resting right now. And who said that? I got Harriet on my neck, on my necklace. Like, we can't rest in the middle of the biggest fight of our lives. And I think if we all sit with it even spiritually, we know that it's not a time for rest. I love what Dr. Dyson says recently. He was like, we work in shifts. So even if you're resting right now, in the morning you got to get up and go to work. That's where we are. We are not in a permanent state of rest unless you want to be in a permanent state of arrest in this administration. We have something we got to push back on and fight back for.
Yeah. I appreciate that, because I think that there's also, we work in shifts. There's also a myriad of ways for people to get engaged, and again, the State of the People Power Tour is one effort to present some opportunities for folks to plug in, right, to be in community. I want to say just one more time, State of the People, stateoftheppl.com to find one of the tour stops near you and to get involved if you'd like to. I know that all of the organizers on the ground at the tour stops would appreciate volunteers and folks who are interested in helping to bring it to be. One of the things that the tour is trying to, I think, focus on is us, right? We are approaching 100 days of the Trump administration. We could go down the list, and I do every Friday, of all of the terrible things. As you said, it is actually overwhelming when we see the attacks, right? The deportations that are not just illegal but inhumane, right? When we see U.S. citizens being detained, we know, and we talked a little bit in the last hour about, we know that there's some impending direct attacks on nonprofit organizations. And we should talk about that stuff because we need to have the conversation about how we're combating that, right? We know that there's, attack on our culture and on our history, whether it's through the National Museum or otherwise. But there really is a need for us to deal with that, but also to know that that the focus needs to be on how we are moving collectively. And I think that's part of the reason why there is this sort of focus of, this sort of coming together and focus on family that is the sort of driving force behind the state of the people.
And the other thing is just like everybody has something to offer. I think what's historically happened for us, and again, you probably got some focus group data that says this, but historically, if you don't organize a certain way, if you don't work in the voting or civil and human rights space, people aren't always that inclusive of what your gift, what your offering is. And so I've been talking a lot about reasonable service. Like, we have an arts and culture need to, deploy here. Sometimes the best way for us to get a message across is in song.
Yeah.
Sometimes the way to feel like you can overcome and persevere is through prayer, through meditation. Sometimes in order to keep going, like, speaking of rest, sometimes you need a breath work class. I was just talking to B Mike in New Orleans, who was saying, hey, I want to do an art class where we have adults out here with crayons and paint and everything, drawing and telling people what they're imagining. We have to break down the stronghold of feeling like we don't have permission to imagine anymore or to reimagine things.
Right.
That is what this should be.
Yeah.
This is like, if we break down every barrier that exists for us, what do we create?
Yeah.
So that's what we really want. We want to serve our folks. We want to work alongside our folks. We want to rally our folks and keep pushing.
Yep.
That's the main thing.
The State of the People Power Tour coming to a city near you. Please go to stateoftheppl.com. I want to appreciate Angela Rye, my good sis, for joining us here to talk about the importance of this, coming together of our community from coast to coast. There'll be one in LA on June 5th and 6th, State of the People Power Tour, June 5th and 6th.
Now, Adrianne, I got to say this because I'm competitive. You guys, if LA doesn't show out, we are trying to show these Southern folks and these East Coast folks that the Black folks on the West Coast can show out. We need to beat them, okay? We need to turn out in bigger numbers and let them know what it is.
We're not even worried. I hear people talking. Tired of them. They just talking. We ain't worried.
I'm tired of them, Adrianne.
But we will see you. I'm assuming that we will see you here in LA on June 5th and 6th. And I appreciate you. When we come forward, appreciate Angela Rye. We will see her on June 5th and 6th. And when we come forward, we're going to have Isosa Osa on talking about what is happening on social media in this conversation about whether Black folks should be doing absolutely nothing in this moment or not. Stay with us. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
More of the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is urging Chief Justice John Roberts to reject a Trump order targeting the Smithsonian. Jeffries says Trump is trying to erase Black history and called the move cowardly. Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton is running for U.S. Senate, aiming to replace retiring Senator Dick Durbin. Stratton, the first Black woman to hold statewide office in Illinois, is expected to get support from Governor J.B. Pritzker. Black Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says the city will fully fund several child care and early education programs next year, including the Early Childhood Educator Pay Equity Fund and the D.C. Child Care Subsidy Program. And Hampton University won the 2025 Honda Campus All-Star Challenge, earning a $100,000 grant. Over 200 students from 32 HBCUs competed. Honda praised the event as a celebration of Black excellence and a way to build future leaders. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome to the newly renovated Toyota of Carson. We want to say yes to every offer.
During our tax time sales event, get 0 down payment options, plus rates as low as 1.99%. Then receive an additional $1,000 trade-in bonus.
Toyota of Carson.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are healthy for Game 3 tonight at Minnesota. Only one player is on their injury list, backup power forward Maxi Kleber. Kleber has not played since January 25th because of a foot injury. The Lakers and Minnesota are tied at 1-1 in the best of 7. 6:30 tip-off tonight on ESPN. Because the Denver Nuggets are the number 4 seed in the Western Conference playoffs and the Clippers are number 5, the Nuggets have the home court advantage in their first-round series. The Clippers, up 2-1 in the best of 7, can take away the home court advantage with a win Saturday in Game 4. A big-time opportunity for the Clippers. 3 p.m. tip-off at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Dodgers start a 3-game series at home tonight against Pittsburgh. The Dodgers, in 3rd place in the NL West, have lost 3 of their last 4. Since that 8-0 start, they have not looked like defending World Series champions. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Imagine serving our country to protect our rights and freedoms, then coming home without a place to call your own. LA property owners, we need you. You can help get veterans off the street and into safe, stable housing, because this is not just a housing issue, it is a human issue. This is Joe Mantegna. Learn more about how you can help end veteran homelessness. Email houseourvets@lacity.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're inside the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to the Black Pack here at KBLA. I am your host, Adrianne Shropshire, and I am excited to bring back once again the founder and CEO of Honest Impact, Esosa Osa. Hello, Esosa. I was just talking to Angela, and she was excited, Angela Rye, and she was excited that you were going to be coming on because we were talking about the State of the People Power Tour and mobilizing Black folks across the country to get engaged with one another and think through a path forward. And so we also know that there is a different narrative that is kind of emerging on social media. So I appreciate you being available to come on and talk about what you all are seeing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Adrianne. So happy to be back and, in this incredibly important time. And, I really, really love the conversation you and Angela were having.
Oh, good. Okay. So you heard some of it. So good. So we're going to pick up that conversation right there. So I've said this a couple of times throughout the show. And I was talking to April Verrett from SEIU last week about, she said this really great thing. I had her quote at the top of the hour that was basically like, are Black people resting? Sure, right? Like Black folks are healing. It has been a long, hard slog, right, from to election day and then since election day, and that's true, and people are trying to gather themselves and trying to make sure that they're pulling in the right pieces to be able to figure out how we're going to get through this next period of American history. But there seems to be this thing that is emerging, and you'll tell me, right, like if you all are seeing this too, that is essentially content on social media platforms that aren't just talking about Black people arresting. It is actively suggesting that Black folks stay out, right? And so I'm wondering, are we seeing folks just sort of expressing how they're feeling, right? Are these just kind of, contrarians, right? Or is there something else going on that you all are observing on the platforms?
It's really all of the above, and it's because, Adrianne, we're right now we are in an information war, right? We are.
Thank you for putting it that way. Yeah.
Yes, it is. This is we're in a war for our own realities, our own history, our images, our likeness, what have you. And when I say reality, I mean, why is this so specific to right now? It is because of how the human brain works, and that is that the more times we hear something, the more likely we are to believe it's true, and the more likely we are to believe other people believe it's true as well. Right. Repetition and amplification are a substitute for truth in our brains. And so what we're seeing in this current social media environment is how easily we can be manipulated because of how quickly, how often the same message can be put in front of us over and over and over again. And that's what we're seeing happen with this, with the narrative you're talking about, right? This is not something new. We saw this last year with organic narratives in Black online spaces being misconstrued up and amplified by bad actors. Right now, we are seeing folks try to take this Black women should rest very, very genuine and correct, right, conversation and trying to twist it into, Black women won't turn out. Right. Black women aren't going to engage civically. Right. Those are people or bad actors that are trying to actively work against Black power, and we all know how false that is, but at the same time, we know how this information warfare works, and so it's important to highlight what is happening and to give people tools to fight back.
And I want to just stick for a second on that term "bad actors," right? Because when my question to you was like, "Is it this? Is it this? Is it that?" And you said it's actually all of those things. And so I think some folks would question like, "Well, why would people be doing this or saying this?" And I guess that's the question is what do we mean when we talk about bad actors online, right? Is it about the intent? Because again, some folks are saying like, "I am actually just tired. Please leave me alone," right? But that doesn't seem to be what's happening. And so, when we say bad actors, who are we talking about?
Correct. And so I cannot be clear enough that we are not talking about content, genuine content, talking about how Black women deserve to rest. How none of this is our fault, right? It is. We are talking, when I say bad actor in this context, I mean accounts and influencers or what have you that have a history of pushing anti-civic engagement messaging writ large. and or have a history of anti-Blackness in some other way. But it's either you actively been pushing folks to civically disengage for a while, or you've actively been pushing anti-Black content for a while. That is specifically who.
Isosa?
Yes.
Sorry.
That is specifically. No worries. That's specifically who I'm talking about. And again, we, as you know, we launched this tool called digitalgreenbook.org to help kind of fight back, to help folks navigate, to help folks spot this kind of social media manipulation, because, we believe that, not only do Black people deserve rest, we deserve to be safe and secure and find real community online and not be manipulated by these really harmful tactics that a bunch of billionaires are profiting off of.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it seems like some of these, some of the accounts and some of the conversations, it looks like you said like they might be, like they put out anti-Black, content, but sometimes it looks like it's actually, empowerment, right? Or it's even pro-Black, right? But the reality is that they're sort of reinforcing these harmful narratives, and really, driving kind of cynicism, right, and disengagement, where you might think it's an okay thing, but it really isn't.
One thing I'd, encourage, we've got to, increase discernment, increase skepticism to an extent in this new kind of environment of information war. And one thing I would always encourage folks to do is be very skeptical of people telling you to not, especially not to vote, not to engage civically. That requires a higher barrier of entry in terms of entering the realm of truth for our brains, right? You should be skeptical of those types of things, and it's something that was a very effective kind of argument in this environment that we continue to use. Is just like, hey, FY, how come they never tell, white folks not to vote?
Right.
Right. Why, if it's not important, if it's not something that we should be doing, why not? And again, that is not what the organic, genuine kind of content that we are seeing is doing. We don't see these bad actors uplifting wins in Louisiana where, Black voters turned out, were 37% of early vote, and defeated 4 ballot initiatives. Right? We're not seeing them uplift the State of the People tour. We're not seeing them uplift how Black folks are being strategic in this moment. They are very much picking and choosing and manipulating what we see online and trying to reframe the narrative, and we can't let them. One of the data points, this is really important, Adrian, one of the data points that we try to highlight for folks is that 42% of social online traffic, 42% of social online traffic is bad bots specializing in comment spam and fake news.
Yeah. That's crazy. So 42% of the online traffic is actually just not bad bots. I mean, that's crazy. And I think that people don't have any concept of that scale, right? Like of that volume.
Exactly.
I do want to, so when we come forward, you mentioned the Digital Green Book, which is a title that I love, for all the reasons. I want to talk a little bit more about that as well. Cause I think that there is a way in which you say, and it said, and say all the time, like that there is a manipulation that's happening, and that we just need to be educated and more savvy about how we are engaging online and understanding what we're seeing. So when we come forward, we're going to continue this conversation with Isosa Osa, the founder and CEO of Onyx Impact. This is the Black Pack. Stay with us.
You're part of the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire on KBLA Talk 1580.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like to inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. you are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's get back to more of the Black Pack with Adrianne Shropshire right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to the Black Pack, and I got caught off guard a little bit there, Asosa, because I am deep into the live chat on YouTube that I'm gonna stay away from for the moment. I know folks are listening. We trying to talk about social media and making sure we not getting manipulated, and folks are having a whole competition conversation about who is who and what is what in the chat. So, but I'm guilty of like diving in for a minute and seeing what folks were saying, and y'all are very funny. So I want to come back to this question about, I think I agree with you, and obviously appreciate you all and the work that you do to say to folks that if there is someone or someone's, right, some accounts that are constantly telling Black folks not to engage, right, constantly telling Black folks this is not our business, right, like that our survival is not our business, right? Right. That you should be leery, right? Like you should question where that account is actually coming from, and particularly in a moment like this. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the digital green book, though, because it feels like this is a thing that is so important in terms of resources for all of us right now, right? And being able to navigate the online spaces that we are all in all the time, right? And I even in this moment where I've tried to cut back on the amount of scrolling, the doom scrolling I'm doing, right? I'm still scrolling, right? And so talk a little bit about the digital green book and sort of the idea behind it and why you all felt like it was important at Onyx Impact to put it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody can find the Digital Green Book at digitalgreenbook.org. It was an idea that came to fruition, around like the end of January when we were just getting hit with 20, 30 executive orders a day, right? And in this kind of information overload situation that was moving from just disinformation to, outright propaganda, like all-encompassing information. And so just as the original Green Book helped Black travelers find safe spaces, our platform is here to give Black communities the tools, tactics, and trusted resources to move through this kind of online landscape with clarity, confidence, and most importantly, control. And so what does that mean? What does that actually mean? That means that, if you go to digitalgreenbook.org, that you'll get tips for how to spot digital manipulation. You'll get tips to how to take back control of your data, clear actions on how people can take back not just control of their feeds, but also it's important to understand how much money we are giving these social media companies from our data every year, right? It's not just protecting our data and protecting our truth in many ways. It's also protecting our kids. One of the things that people don't, I think, we don't talk enough about is how Black youth are being disproportionately exposed to racist content that can lead to mental health struggles. When people say they're rolling back content moderation policies, right? That's a big phrase. Right. That means they're allowing more hate, racism, and anti-Blackness. And so in that context, how do we protect our kids? How do we give our kids the digital knowledge and safety and security to be able to be on these platforms but stay safe? And then the last part is protecting our truth, protecting our kids, and part 3 is protecting our culture, right? How to make sure that we are following Black news. Black news is far less likely to be, have manipulated understandings of what it means to be Black. How do we make sure that we are buying Black? How do we make sure that, one of the things that we saw online constantly last year is like, how come Black people don't have their own agenda? And I personally love questions that start with how come Black people don't have, because my answer is, did you Google it? Right. But so we went ahead, we did that work for you, right? Like, we have a list of a bunch of Black policy agendas that people can read, can argue for, against, what have you. But it's how do we protect our culture in this moment? And so highly recommend, like, this is a tool to help navigate this information more, right? At digitalgreenbook.org. And we also have an artificial intelligence tool, an AI tool called Aisha that folks can engage with on that site.
Now, wait a minute. We got the artificial intelligence named Aisha. I love that.
Yes. I'm not sure if you get it. My favorite thing to do is explain jokes. I think it makes them 5 times better. But Aisha is a wonderful name that my team that's much cooler than me came up with. And it's an AI that we trained on local news, local Black news, national Black news. We spent weeks on trying to make it understand what the history of Black folks is, and equally as important, what Black joy looks like, right? Because don't want to do is ask an AI to go figure out what it means to be Black by looking online, right? We're very terrified of what that would be. But its overall goal is to serve Black communities, and so and we did this. We created this tool so that instead of telling people to go to 6, 7, 10 different fact-checking sites, you can just ask Aisha. When you see something you're not sure about it, ask Aisha. If you want you need a fact double check, ask Aisha. At this point, people are using Aisha in such innovative ways. If you need good Jamaican recipes, people are using Aisha.
I love that.
You got scripts. You need to help kind of grow your business. Go to Aisha, and we've gotten not just incredible feedback from the broader Black community, but also just really great feedback from the AI community saying, they don't have a lot of things like this that exist. And so we're really excited about what we can continue to do with with Aisha and with this platform. Again, it's about how do we reclaim control of our culture at digitalgreenbook.org. So highly recommend people give it a look.
Yeah, that's so great. I mean, thank you for talking about all of that, including including Aisha, because I know that we've seen. I was in focus groups a couple of weeks ago, and listening to people talking. We were talking about how people get information about candidates, right? How do you learn about candidates? And I clearly live in a bubble or something, or under a rock, because people were like, "Oh, we just chat GPT them." Right.
Right.
And I was like, really? We using chat GPT to compare candidates, which feels fraught in so many ways. Right. And we know that we've seen kind of these bad actors, like the whole, online meltdown, right, about the Meta. I don't even know what they're called. The sort of like people of color avatars or whatever they were, right? The sort of AI that was saying
doesn't turn out super well and that's because again there's so much. One of the things that we've got, that one of the reasons why I think Aisha can be so powerful is because all of these massive data tools, chat GPT-esque tools, are so much of white culture is digitized and available online, right? And you are training things on, encyclopedias of European culture, and you're training that same model on Wikipedia versions of Black history, of Black culture. And so there's just a massive need to get more information into these systems.
All right, digitalgreenbook.org. digitalgreenbook.org. People should go there for a whole host of reasons. Isosa Osa, founder and CEO of On Its Impact. I want to thank you for coming and talking to me about these issues and talking to the listeners. This is something we're going to continue to come back to, and so I hope that you'll join us over and over and over again to help us know when there are things out there that we should be being leery of. Also want to remind folks to go to stateoftheppl.com to learn about the tour stops coming to your city. And also it is Good Friday, which folks have noted in the chat. And so I just want to say happy Easter weekend to all those who are celebrating. This is the Black Pack here at KBLA Talk 1580. I will be back here next Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you all find an opportunity to enjoy lots and lots of parts of your weekend.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica